All righty. So welcome to today's Zoom. Again, thank you guys for being willing to, share your time with me. I appreciate you so much. Again, we're going to review chapter 3 and 4, get ready for our exam tomorrow. It's a little bit heftier than what I normally give you guys. Question wise, it's 41 questions this go round. You've got 10 multiple choice and 10 true and false from each chapter, and then one essay bonus question. I don't know if y'all heard me mention, but we've already had a couple of people who've taken it and A's with flying colors. So it's nothing extreme. You guys will be all right. I have every confidence. But I do want to talk about some really important things that these chapters touched on, things that I have experienced out in the workforce, and things that I know you guys are going to experience and come up against too. So let's get started with that. We're going to start with chapter 3. And of course, the biggest thing in this chapter, and I kind of preluded you guys to that with that essay last week, was HIPAA. Okay, your Health Information Portability and Accountability Act. And I always found portability to be a weird word when I first started dealing with HIPAA. And basically, all portability is the movement of information, how this health information is getting transferred from one entity to another, from patient to provider, from provider to insurance company, etc., and making sure that that information is secure to protect our patients. And like that little assignment showed you guys, the repercussions of a HIPAA violation can be devastating for a company. So they do
Oh,
take it
yeah.
very, very seriously. And like y'all saw, fines in the millions of dollars. It can really, they take it seriously. You will have HIPAA training. Any job you do, I don't care where in the medical field you are going to have annual HIPAA training every single year. Um, for any updated information, and because their compliance officers, whatever company you work for, their compliance officers have to submit reports saying yes, our people have been trained and they know that they are or are not supposed to be sending whatever information. um so it's a big deal. um so a little bit about HIPAA. It was created um to protect the patients. Privacy, confidentiality, and security are the three main deals. Okay. Um, and they have the HIPAA privacy rule, right? And in that chapter, y'all saw that they talked about confidentiality versus privacy, the difference in those. Confidentiality, excuse me, is basically keeping it to yourself. You have access to that information, but that doesn't mean you share it. You don't talk about it. You don't share it with anybody that's not supposed to have it. Okay. Um, and privacy, with the privacy rule, it's more the patient's right to controlling their information, how that information is shared and used in the healthcare arena. And what I mean by that is, like, sometimes there are, if they're testing a new drug, they're doing panels of drug testing and stuff like that. A patient may want to be included in that, or they may not want to be included in that. And that falls under privacy. They have the right to not, even if they want to try the drug, they don't have to be included in that panel. They don't have to tell the provider, yeah, you can give my information away just because I try this drug. They control that, and that's all that privacy is about, is their right to control that information. Okay, so it talked about PHI, protected health information. Um, that's very important when you're when you're sending information out into the world. Um, I have not yet worked for a company that did not have an encrypted system, to where when we sent emails out and received them, they were encrypted and secured. We had a secured system for that. Um, and that will be pretty much anywhere you work, guys. So getting used to email communications, especially if you're in the billing department, if you're doing denials and going back and forth with insurance companies, that's big, because every time, I remember there was, Humana was a big one. Every time I got an email response from Humana, I had to sign into their server and pull my email from their server so that it was secure. And I was the only person that could access that email. And the bad thing about that though, is if I didn't notate the information or print out that email or save it, and I forgot my password to get in the Humana server, you're stuck like Chuck. Okay, that email is pretty much gone and you'd have to start over. And that's where documentation ties in really heavily. And they talked about that in chapter 4. So we'll talk more about documentation in a little bit. But back to HIPAA and all that. So your encrypted email systems and EHR systems and all that, that's all technological security, right? But with HIPAA, they also want physical security, physical safeguards. And the way I've seen companies do that is they have code access to get into the buildings. Anybody who does not work, especially the third-party outsourced billing services that I work for, there's 70 women in a building, and that building is locked tight. You got 4 different departments that each did separate billing for different clinics and different offices. And each of those departments had their own locks to get into those departments. If you didn't work in there, you weren't getting in there because you didn't need access to that information and you weren't going to get access for that information. Okay. And that's physical safeguards. I've seen some companies that had security guards. Okay. Checking badges and things like that. I've seen biometrics, fingerprint to get in places. So, got to carry a badge, swipe your badge. You're not getting in anywhere you don't belong.
Yep.
You know, and that's important. And HIPAA compliance officers will come around and audit you and make sure that you don't have information just out for anybody to be able to steal, and they will steal it. And one major thing that we're constantly on the lookout for, and it's getting more and more prevalent, is phishing, email phishing scams. We had, y'all, I can't tell you how many of those I've turned over to our IT department or whatnot. And they make it hard, y'all. They're convincing sometimes when they, and I've had one of them call me and try to get me to give information over the phone to where they could get into a hospital system. And thankfully, I was smart enough to say, hold on a second, put it on mute, called my boss and was like, I've got this weird call and it just doesn't, it's, I've got alarms going off over here. And thankfully I did, because it turned out to be somebody who was trying to hack our system and thought that they had got a weak link on the phone and that they were going to get somewhere. So you got to be diligent and pay attention and verify patients' information. When y'all answer the phone, you've got to verify their information to make sure that you're not breaking HIPAA. Okay. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in chapter 4 too. Let's see. Do y'all have any questions about HIPAA? Any of the regulations, rules, anything like that?
No.
I think we got a pretty good understanding of HIPAA and how important that is.
Yep.
Oh, for your exam, pay attention to your patient's HIPAA privacy rights. That may or may not have something to do with your bonus question. I'm not sure. Just saying. Just saying. All right, I'm gonna take a quick second. We've had a few more people pop on. So I'm gonna take a quick second to write down everybody who's come on, okay? Miss Julia, you did make it today. I'm so glad.
Yes, ma'am. How y'all doing today?
Hello.
All right. So
how you
they heard
doing?
me go on and on about how awesome graduation was. You go ahead and you tell them what you thought.
I thought it was an awesome experience. The The graduation went smoothly. There was no problems, no hiccups with the microphone or anything. And I just felt it was fabulous the way that some of the professors had came up. I like the idea with some of the professors that came up with the idea of um they offered awards on their own to some of the students for certain things. It's not something that the school came up with, it's something that the professors came up with. And giving acknowledge of how some of the students would go above and beyond certain things in the class and do certain things. I just felt that was awesome doing that.
Oh,
That's good. And yeah, and what Julie is talking about, y'all, there's a couple of awards we've given out at graduation. And Julie is right. One of them is for students that go above and beyond. Their attendance is there, the grades are there, they're participate in Zoom, they help other students, they just go above and beyond. So we try to recognize that, of course, because we appreciate it so much. And then there's also sometimes you come across a student, like I say, we get invested in the journey with you guys. You have a student that has to overcome so many obstacles to get to the end of this program and to get to where they want to be and meet their goals. And life just keeps throwing it at them and throwing it at them. And, we've all been through times like that. And we have an award for that too. If we see a student that has struggled and just refused to give up, we do recognize that too, because that's something to be applauded, that kind of determination and fight. And it really is. It's something to be proud of. And we're proud of you guys. We want y'all to be proud of yourselves too.
that's awesome.
We try. We do try. We care, y'all. We really do. And it's really nice to be a part of a team of people, an organization that cares about people. Y'all, I've worked jobs, some of the best paying jobs in my life, where the environment was so toxic, I couldn't take it.
Mhm.
And I went back
Oh,
to
no.
I went back to flipping burgers or doing whatever I had to do to make it until I could find another good job. But I got to say that Unitech, the environment here, is just one of the best that I've ever worked in. Even though nobody that I work with lives in my city or probably even within 100 miles of me, but I've probably got a closer knit team with this group of people than I've had almost anywhere else I've ever worked. Like,
That's what I like. It's like the professors and along with the students, it was just like you was a little family together. They would talk and some of the students was cheering for a certain professor, and she just made sure her kids just remember her, recognize her, and she was there for them, helped them with a lot of stuff. And it's just the professors just together with the students. Y'all just did everything together as a little family. And I just felt that was awesome.
thank you, Julia. Thank you. And thank you for sharing that with everybody else.
Yeah,
'Cause
because
that's
if
the
y'all, if y'all
influence.
feel y'all struggling with anything, or if y'all don't understand something, or if you feel that's not gonna be the right thing, just ask, ask your professor or ask anybody at the school. If they don't really know, one thing I noticed for the graduation, if one professor didn't know anything or somebody over there didn't know, they did ask the other one to make sure you get the answers. And don't be afraid to ask, because they all there to help you with anything.
That's it. That's it. And it's important, y'all, that kind of teamwork and communication is really important. Um,
Mhm.
and I think that's a lot of why Unitech is successful, is because we communicate like that. If one of us
Mhm.
doesn't know something, we're not afraid to say we don't know. But we can dang sure find out anything.
Yes.
We've got the resources. So, and that's so important in any job you do, anywhere you work. And that's a lot of reason why a lot of companies fail, is because they don't get their employees. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is synced up, just engaged with each other and engaged with their patients or customers or whatever the case may be. But that's something that's super important. And it's great that people I'm not saying that on the out, students are on the outside. But as staff, it's great that you guys can see that.
We
That
noticed what y'all
we show
do.
that makes me proud.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, it was a fun little family. I enjoyed my time with
It
the
was,
little
and we get
family.
silly too.
Yeah.
We
But
get silly. We have some fun. It's not all
y'all
it's
have
not all
fun.
pomp and circumstance. We boogied on out of there. And yes, I did. I
Mhm.
danced down the aisle with everybody
All
else.
right.
Yeah, it was just
You
a
had a
happy
soul
time.
train line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we sure did. We sure did. It's a fun, happy time, y'all. It's the time to celebrate. Celebrate y'all, you know. So hopefully we'll get there one day too.
Mhm.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on. I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time today. Um,
I just have a question.
what you got?
For the application, workplace application exercise,
Mm-hmm.
the things, the like numbers 1 through
4.
6.
I think it's like 1 through 6, but there was one I left off. I think the last one was on that
So
the next page. And that's why I said just
Mhm.
do like 1 through 4 or 1 through 5. Only. Don't worry about the last.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to say, because I was getting ready to ask, because some of these I don't think is on my, like they didn't give us the sheet to input it
I
with
think
the EHR.
if they were patients that you were supposed to have input, those demographic sheets are at the back of the chapter. And then I think some of them, but they'll tell you if they're in the back of the book.
Okay.
I think most of the ones that y'all have had to input have been in the back of the chapter. Is that correct, y'all?
Uh,
Very good.
Well, yeah, almost at the end of the chapter, but not exactly at the end.
Right,
But
right.
and once you have submitted the information the first time in the first assignment, then all you have to do is just search for established patient sometime, or just search the patient name by the last name, and it should
Right.
pull up and all the information is already there. And you just
Okay.
inputting, with the workplace application, you mostly like just setting up, scheduling appointments.
Yeah, the appointments. I just wanted to make sure it's the ones that was already in the SIM chart.
Yeah, some of them is
Um,
already in there already.
Yeah. Okay.
Patients already
That's
in
what
there.
I was making sure.
Yeah. I love it when y'all talk amongst yourselves. It's better because y'all have that one-on-one. Like there are certain things, certain assignments, exams, different things that I assign to y'all that I've never gone through from my end of it. So sometimes y'all can help each other better than what I can, which
Mhm.
is another reason why I like that we do a weekly Zoom. It gives y'all that opportunity. Let's see. I know a couple, speaking of SimChart, while we're talking about that, there's a couple of y'all that have had some issues with patients that y'all have input and then gone back later and they weren't there. I think
Right.
that is due to this session. When you first log on, it asks you to start a new session or go to the previous one. I think you have to go to the previous one after you start inputting stuff.
Makes sense because all my
I had
stuff
it saved.
from the first time I input it, so I just had to go back to the end of
And
chapter.
redo. Right. And I did that today. That's what I was asking. Like, wait, is this something we already inputted? Because if
Oh, no.
not, I'm gonna have to go back and do it all over again.
I know you just same session.
But
Okay.
you know what I found out? That I thought I was gonna have to go back and redo it over again, because I did have that situation where it did that to me, and I brought that up to Brandy for graduation. Now I'm at graduation asking about the list,
Yeah.
Right.
because I was like, oh, my patience just went away. But I noticed I went back and I kind of mess around with it, and I noticed
And
when
you'll
it
see
says
it's
back to
doubled.
previous session, but if you click on again, then it's gonna redo it over again, and then
Oh,
all your patients gonna come back up again.
okay.
All right. Good to know.
That's what's gonna end up happening. All your patients gonna come back up again. So I said, oh, thank you. I don't have to do the patients over again, because I end up clicking the simulation background and it end up bringing my patients back.
Because
Excellent.
I all the way back to in the step 2, input all the insurance information, insert.
It's
Yeah.
just practice. It's just practice.
Yeah, it happened to me. So I end up noticing, I said, oh man, I know I have
But
to
do
do
y'all
all this
notice that
over
once
again.
y'all do a few, you get into a flow.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You get into
It's
a
like
flow and then
running
it
it.
gets easier and then it just kind of goes.
Yeah, because as
And
long as you're saving it, then it's fine. But I
Yeah.
noticed if you
When
click
I
the
first-
simulation background, it's gonna bring all your patients back. So you don't have to go back and do it over again.
Okay.
y'all know my job duties were the first job that I got in a billing office. My job duties when I got there was I scanned stuff all day. I sat in a cubicle and people, coders and billers would bring me their files and I would scan it into the system. That's all I did all day. That sucked. That was really horrible. It was really boring. But it got me in the door. But that again ties in with that documentation thing. But there are days after I got out of scan, they started me inputting patient demographics. That's kind of the first step in billing is getting into the EHRs, learning their system, learning how to put information in. And then a little bit down the road, they started teaching me other things, how to decipher the information that I was putting in and how to take that information and make a medical bill out of it and send it to somebody and do different things. So I know this kind of seems monotonous and kind of why am I putting these people's information in here? Because that's the beginning of it. That's the very beginning of it. Is getting that data into the system. And now I don't know if y'all have noticed this, and it wasn't like this in Alexandria when I lived there, but I've noticed that every doctor's office in Shreveport that I've been to, the staff is not entering demographics. I'm entering demographics when I walk in there and they hand me an iPad.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Every doctor's
I
office
have a
that I've
doctor.
exactly. They hand me an iPad and I enter, they have their little questionnaires. I sign my little forms on there, my privacy policies and all that stuff. They're all on the iPad now in electronic form. They go through there. When I'm done with that, I go up, hand the iPad to them. They scan my insurance card and my driver's license, and I go on my merry way. So that's even getting to where it's all getting automated more and more. Okay. But it's good practice because all the information that they're wanting in SimChart is all the exact same information that any EHR system that you work on is going to want. Patient's address, date of birth, social, and actually social's kind of going out the window. They're using that actually less and less, which is odd to me, but whatever. But addresses, phone numbers, insurance details. You need to know on the insurance card, like where to find the not only their member ID, but on the back of every single insurance card, just about, unless there's some fly-by-night insurance company, not real reputable, there's going to be a phone number on the back of that insurance card for providers. And that's the one that you're going to call when you call an insurance company to either verify somebody's benefits or discuss a claim with them or discuss the person's policy. If they're a new patient and that's part of your job function, you'll find out what their deductibles are, what if wellness visits are covered, if that's your provider's shtick, all that kind of information. So learning to recognize this information is very, very important because that's your front office staff that's all they deal with is all the patient demographics and the forms and the scheduling and the appointments and everything like that. So very important stuff, even though it seems a little monotonous, I know. Let's see. All right, so the last thing I really want to talk about with HIPAA is covered entities versus business associates. Can any of y'all tell me what the difference is between those? A covered entity and a business associate under HIPAA?
Okay, wait. A covered entity is your personal insurance
Insurance company.
and your personal insurance, and when it's a business entity, that is the insurance that you have through your job, I want to say.
In regards to HIPAA, it's a little bit different. In regards to HIPAA, when they're talking about covered entities and business associates, they're talking about people who have access to protected information. All right, your covered entities are going to be your healthcare providers, your doctors and their
Okay.
offices, your insurance companies, and then your third-party billing services and clearinghouses. And that's just about it. There's a few other things like if it's a workers' comp case or something like that, where there's a government entity that may fall in there somewhere. But most of the time, it's just going to be your provider, your health insurance carrier, and whatever clearinghouse or billing service they use. Those are your covered entities, pretty much. Business associates are people not involved in the medical care that have access to that information, or not have access to it, but are exposed to it.
So like the cleaning services.
Bingo, bingo, bingo. Exactly. Your cleaning service, your maintenance people, your security people. All of those are considered business associates. They are people that the medical industry has to have contact and interact with to maintain business, but they're not part of the medical industry. But they've got to sign an agreement when they agree to do work for someone that's a covered entity under HIPAA. They have to sign a business associate agreement that says if they accidentally see some of this information, they're not going to go spread it around. Or your shred company, that's a big one. That's kind of almost your most important business associate, because they're actually coming in and taking all those documents full of all this information and disposing of it.
Right.
And most of the time they shred it right there on site. They bring a truck that shreds it in the parking lot. It doesn't go nowhere. And then there's locked bins that we dump that paperwork in the office, stationed throughout. And then shred people usually come like once a week. But that's less and less as people are going to electronic records. But the only bad thing about electronic records, y'all, is that what happens when the electricity goes out? What happens when your server crashes?
Whenever the server crashes, like there's nothing that they can do. They have to look for like old pieces of exam forms or something like that to try to get something until the server comes back up. And sometimes it's days depending on what IT can do.
Exactly. You're exactly right. And that's why a lot of people will still keep paper charts somewhere. Or I know when I worked for that third party, I worked for them for, y'all will hear me talk about that company. It's actually ACS out of Alexandria. I worked for them for 4 years, and they taught me almost everything I know about billing and coding and credentialing. And I got just a plethora of knowledge on that job. And they're just a perfect example of a lot of the things that we talk about, because they're very strict on HIPAA, and they're very up to date on the standards. They stay up to date on all the coding standards. They keep their people trained, and they hire Unitech graduates. That's the other thing. We've gotten several Unitech graduates placed with ACS in Alexandria.
Oh, fine.
Yeah. So now I will say this. I did hear a rumor that they recently got bought out by another company. I really loved the fact that they were a Louisiana company. Their owner, their corporate office was in Lafayette. It may still be, I don't know. And actually, it's like right down the street from the Unitech office, which is funny, but not related. But anyhow, they annual HIPAA training. That was a must. The key coded doors and different things, business associates. I just learned a lot from them. I learned a lot, got a lot of good experience there. But yeah,
I've had a scenario where I guess apparently one of my doctor's office, I guess they didn't have paper forms like you said, because when the server ended up crashing, they just reschedule all their patients because they had us sitting in
Yeah.
a waiting area and told us it was gonna be like an hour and a half wait because they was trying to wait to see what IT could do. It might be up by then, so we waited an hour. Then they just told us they're gonna reschedule us because the doctor says she didn't want to stay and wait to see if this was gonna get fixed.
yeah,
That she just gonna reschedule all her patients. And I was so upset because this was a 2-hour drive I had to make
yeah.
and wasn't able to see
Ooh.
the doctor. And he told me, you could come
Yeah.
tomorrow. No, ma'am, I'm not gonna come tomorrow.
No, I
Just
can't come
schedule it next
tomorrow.
week.
That's what, y'all, I used to work for a neuropsychologist. I basically ran her practice. I was her office manager, billing specialist, scheduler, insurance verifier, everything. I basically
And
ran
that's what
that
it
practice.
was. It was a neurologist and they just.
It wasn't in
rescheduled it.
Shreveport, was it?
No,
Because that sounds like a very Dr. Jennings thing to do right there.
she just made us all
Not
reschedule
want to
all
wait
our
and
appointments
just call her butt.
because I'm assuming they didn't have no paper logs or, any other paper things to do. So she just rescheduled all her patients.
We went through that, the office I ran, we went through that one time. Everything crashed on me and I didn't know who was scheduled when for the next day. And I tell you what, that never happened to me again. Because from then on out, every single day before I left the office, I printed the schedule for the next day.
Mhm.
And there was multiple reasons for that. Number one was I like to be able, as the patients came in and I completed certain tasks, I would mark it off. Mark it off. Number two, if our computer system went down, that's all right. I got you right here.
Mhm.
I know what time you're supposed to be here.
But they just felt that, well, the
smart,
doctor
just
won't be able to pull up your charts or any tests you had done. She won't be able to pull any of that up.
Right.
No, because it was in the system, so they just
Yeah.
had to reschedule
And
it all.
that's the only scary thing about going all electronic. And I think there are some fields and some offices and things where they can't go completely electronic. They have to maintain paper records to some extent. Like I know
Mhm.
for outsourced billing, we would maintain things for 5 to 10 years. There were rooms and hallways that were nothing but filing cabinets. And we would purge once a week. We would purge the day before shred came. And some doctors, some clinics wouldn't get purged for like once a year. We would purge stuff for them because they wanted their stuff kept even longer. And it all depends on the office, the specialty, whatever rules and regulations tie into them in particular. So
When I worked at Compass, we kept our records for like 10 years. I believe we had stuff from 2014.
yeah, that's pretty common. It's pretty common.
A pain, but
But to me, I always preferred that. Like, just to give y'all a glimpse, I guess, into a day of in billing. All right, when I would get to work, and I'm kind of a weird person, y'all. I'm a Gemini, so my
Ooh,
husband will ask me every now and then, which one of
the
y'all did I wake
responses.
up with today? Sometimes I'm real bubbly and happy and personable and social. and want to talk to everybody. But there are some days, don't speak to me.
You want to be
I don't want
bothered.
to talk to you. I don't talk to nobody.
So you were
Leave
sound
me alone. Okay. And billing is kind of one of those great things you can do, because I would, and look, yes, I will wear a t-shirt and put it on my car, hashtag scrub life, because I love wearing my scrubs. They're so comfortable. There was nothing better to me than being able to go to work in a pair of scrubs, my tennis shoes, and a t-shirt, put my little earbuds in and do my thing and get my little
Yeah,
paycheck.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Longer.
And on days where I didn't feel like dealing with nobody, I didn't have to. If I came across a problem, was like, I need to get with a coder on that. I don't feel like talking to the coder today. I'll do that tomorrow. And I'll put it in my little basket for tomorrow. Okay, maybe I'll feel better tomorrow. You know, and as long as you can keep up with your things and things still get done as they're supposed to get done, that's fine. That's fine. You can almost work at your pace or work at your clinic's pace, you know. Now I will tell you what, with ACS, I had so much work. The pace was constant. There was never a lack of anything to do. The workload was a lot more than what it should have been, honestly. But you do what you do. You do the best you can and you move on. And that's something to look out for, y'all, when y'all get into a job. Unrealistic expectations. A lot of employers have unrealistic expectations of what one human being can get done in one dang day. All
I think
right.
that's every workplace.
Yeah. Well, here's how my uncle puts this to me. All right. Y'all got to understand. My uncle is a big wig engineer for some oil company in Houston, and he's been in management for the last 30 years. So he kind of has the opinion that he's the end all be all on hiring and firing and job, how you're supposed to be on a job, right?
Mhm.
And I'm kind of, I will admit to y'all, my uncle's an engineer, my brother's an engineer, my grandfather was a lifelong educator, my grandmother worked in the oil field. I have held a job, at least one full-time job since I was 17, but I've had a lot of them. Like, I've done a lot of different stuff. I've changed jobs a lot, and I love knowing so much about so many different things. Like,
Mhm.
there's certain things I can fix on cars. There's certain things I could fix in a movie theater. I know I could tell you how a finance company runs. I could do your taxes. I mean, there's a lot of different things that I know how to do because of all the different jobs that I've worked. And that's fine with me. My uncle has been in one job for the last 40 years and he's fine with that. And that's great. My brother, he's an engineer too, but he changes jobs every 5 years. And the reason why? Money.
Yes.
Money.
Mhm.
Every time he switches jobs, his pay goes up like 15%. And at this point in his life, he's making 6 figures times 2 or 3.
Cause he know what he's worth.
He knows what he's worth. He
Cause
knows
some
what he's
jobs
worth.
will sit there and make you think you're not really worth it. So if you go to another job, you're not gonna get it. No, you gotta let them jobs know what you're worth.
That's right.
So
And
whatever
if you
worth,
if
and
you
you gonna
are,
work for whatever you're worth.
there's a certain like, you have to give a manager, someone in a higher position than you, a certain amount of respect just because they are in that position. But that does not mean that they get to disrespect you. That does not
Yeah.
mean that they get to talk down to you or treat you like a doormat. That is not
Mhm.
acceptable. I don't care who they are. So don't let anybody do that to you. And I know that's easier said than done.
Look at you. Aisha look like she looking like,
Mhm.
I'm trying to unmute my phone. I'm trying to unmute my phone because that's the
we could
only
tell by your face. Your face was like,
girl. Look, I couldn't unmute it fast enough because I was like, that's the only problem I'm having.
Yes. Yes. I mean, there's,
Mm-mm.
and people will try. Like the point I was getting at with my uncle is what he says is, it is the company's job to get you for as cheap as they can possibly get you for and get as much out of you as they can possibly get out of you. That's their view. And it's your job to get as much pay out of them as you can, as much benefits out of them as you can, and to prove how much you are worth and show exactly what you will and will not put up with. That's important. That's important because you, and this is important too, y'all. You can put your foot down in a professional manner and it'll
Mhm.
get you a lot further than coming at somebody. I don't know who you're talking to like that.
Mm.
You can say, ma'am, I don't appreciate your tone. It's not necessary. And I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
I'm gonna go that route first.
Mhm. And I
I'll
tell
take
you
that
what,
route first.
that will make somebody matter. Because most of the time, if they come at you retarded, they're trying to get a response out of you. They want
Yep,
you to
they're trying
come
get a reaction
off.
out of you.
They trying
Mhm.
to get you to slip up. So you just maintain your little professional demeanor.
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
And
You
I tell you
know-
what, that will fire them up faster than anything. There ain't nothing somebody in a position of power hates more than somebody under them that they can't push their button, get a reaction out of. If they're one of them people, they're gonna try to push your buttons. And I've had managers like that, y'all. And I've worked for crazy doctors. And I tell you what, when you have somebody, I have a bachelor's degree, but I'm not the most educated person on the planet. I'm pretty down to earth and laid back. Like I'm educated and I can speak professionally, and especially in an email, I can written communication. I'll blow your mind and read you. I will read you in an email. But you got to do it professionally and you got to see why you're at. That's important too. That's important too. Have your documentation. Because I had a doctor, in fact, that neuropsychologist that I was talking for, there's a reason I don't work for her crazy tail no more. That woman came at me completely sideways. I was running her entire practice and she wanted to come at me like I was stealing time, like I wasn't accurately clocking my time. And I was like, woman, I basically work 24/7, so I don't really know what you're complaining about anyway. I do everything for your practice. But we had a meeting and she laid out an agenda in this meeting of things to discuss with me. And then she messed up because she does an email recap to see why her A. Okay. And in the email recap, there was this thing about stealing time that she'd never mentioned in the meeting. I've got about 4 emails from me and her back and forth. And y'all, I mean, a page long. A page long. I wish I could read them to y'all because they're really good. Because I put somebody with about 16 initials after her dang name in her place. And basically, by the time I resigned, she had FedExed me my last paycheck and a week's vacation pay that I was sure that she was going to try to get out of me, that she was going to try to cheat me out of. But I had laid it out for her in black and white and explained that I knew exactly what she was doing, that all she was doing was try to provoke me so that I would not file unemployment. And I told her, I said, that's not something you ever have to worry about. I've never been on unemployment. I don't stay unemployed long enough to bother with it. I know my value.
Yes, that's what she was trying to do, push a button so you would just quit. So
Yeah,
you wouldn't
that
get
that is that,
unemployment.
they will do that, y'all. They will do that. They will pile work on you. They will do some things to just get you to the point where you just want to throw up your hands. Don't do it.
Or they will push you where they know they will fire you, but they know you won't be able to get unemployment because they will put it as misconduct.
Right.
Soon as they will put that as a misconduct, the
Exactly.
unemployment will not let you get unemployment unless you end up going and having
You got to go through the whole.
gotta go through the
rigmarole. You
court
gotta
system.
appeal and
I'm
all.
about to say, because good old Louisiana is an at-will state.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
It is a
There's
lot
some-
easier to just move on to the next job. A lot easier. Save
That's
yourself a
true.
lot of time and headache. And what I told her was true. I've never been on unemployment. There have been times where I've been unemployed, but not not long enough to jump through all the hoops of unemployment to even
Mhm.
deal with that headache of having to deal with her more. Nah, I was ready to close that chapter and move on. I got life to live. I got better things.
Yeah, because a lot of jobs will push you to, I've seen one job where one time my husband had applied for, he went in to apply for the job, and the manager asked him what pay he was looking to receive. And my husband told him, he said, I've been driving, I've been a truck driver for 30 years. He said, and I have all the credentials, all my experience. So I'm looking to at least get paid $20 an hour or more. The manager said, well, sir, you wasting your time over here. He said, because the people we do hire, he said, most of them is workers who's here by, what you would call it, green card. Some of them have green cards on work visa.
Work visas. Yeah.
He said, so we hire those because we
They'll work
mainly
for a
just
lot
pay them
less.
$6 an hour. He said,
Right.
sometimes some of them just $5 an hour. He said,
Yeah.
so we try not to pay as much. He said, so you just wasting your time being over here
Right.
looking for that type of pay.
And I tell you what, too, if they're paying people like that, that's some under the table nonsense. Don't go to work for them.
And this was a big warehouse, and he told them we mostly hire people who's here on work
I
visas or
guarantee
green
he's
cards.
breaking the law 10 times.
And talking about he just paying those people $5.25 or $6 an hour. And that's
I wouldn't
wrong.
want to work for somebody who would do that to somebody. That
Exactly.
is a shame.
Yes,
I would have
Mhm.
reported them.
Shame
don't do that
should
to
be
people.
made. That's
that's
horrible.
true.
But
I
there,
say that
y'all,
was
there are
wrong for
companies
them.
out there like that. There is, I'll tell you what, there is, for the 2 years that I have been in Shreveport, for whatever reason, when I moved here and I turned on all the job listings and posting alerts and all that, I never turned them off once I went to work. So I still get them. There is one company that I would not go to work for them just for the amount of time that they have advertised for a medical biller in the last 2 years, at least 8 times. I know darn good and well that that company has not grown that much in 2 years that they have had to hire on 8 additional medical billers. They're going through them like
It's
water.
gotta be something wrong.
There's something going on in that company. They've got some unrealistic expectations. They're not organized to where the people cannot meet their expectations. There's something going on in that company. So once you start looking for a job, notice that kind of stuff too. Notice that kind of stuff. How long in a time frame has this certain company put out this job posting for the same position? Why can't they keep anybody there?
That's true.
Things that make you go, right? Okay. All right, so let's move on so we can wrap up. We've been on here almost an hour already. I know some of y'all get tired of hearing me talk. Just a little bit about chapter 4, patient portals. Almost every major system has a patient portal now. Your hospitals are going to tie in with your doctors. And every office you work for is going to push it. And a lot of them now with that whole iPad setup, the patients are signing up for their portal as they're doing all their new patient paperwork and all that stuff. But if they are not, and you're working front office, expect to get hassled about signing people up for their patient portal, getting those email addresses. That's becoming a lot more popular. And it's a lot easier too. Once you get a signed document onto this portal, the doctor can then send it really easily through a secured network to the specialist that he wants to refer the patient to. So, I mean, it's more and more prevalent. It's something that you're going to see a lot of. And it also ties into your EHR software system, some of it. Sometimes you can email patients straight from the system. If you see something wonky in their chart or something off with their medications, you can shoot them an email straight from the system. And it makes things a lot faster, a lot more efficient. So that's something that you're going to see a lot of.
And
And
I like my patient portal because I could go in myself and look at my test results before the doctor even called me and give me my results.
that's me too. I cannot stand waiting for a doctor's office to flip and call me back and give me test results. And I have to go through this every 3 months. Every 3 months, because I'm a stinking diabetic. So every 3 months, I'm sitting here waiting for 2 weeks to get
Mhm.
results back.
Yes.
I
Or
had a bad
picking up in my
experience
patient
with that.
portal.
I had went for a mammogram annual, very first time. I went and the week had passed, haven't heard anything. I go to check the mail on a Thursday afternoon and my results come back. I need to go back.
Oh no.
Well, of course, everything goes, everything goes through your mind, and I check the mail and it's Thursday at 5 o'clock. So I call and of course, there's a voice message for the nurse and
Of course.
I'm not very happy because I didn't find out my results, but through the mail, nobody bothered to call me.
Right.
So I had to wait till, somebody called me back and I was very vocal about it. Well, I went back the second time, of course, because they needed to do more testing. And I was very vocal to the nurse,
Oh, yes, ma'am.
to the front office, everybody. I even told the staff at the breast center, told me that they had the results the next day within 24 hours turnaround, or they send their results out because, it's so important.
Yeah.
And she's like, what you mean? She said, they had those, they told me the time they had them the next day. And I didn't get, like I said, I found out I'm opening the mail the old fashioned way.
Right.
And I'm like, excuse me? So I made a phone call. And like I said, I went back for the second time. I was very vocal. And, the nurse he even allowed the nurse to call me back, the next day. Here I am in pickup line, the following week waiting on these results. He even allowed the nurse because it was so important that I get those results immediately, considering finding out through the mail, they don't have
Yeah.
patient portal set up. But like I said, open the mail and, oh, we need to see you back because on your, we found something on your left side. And I'm like, oh, great. Thanks, guys.
That's crazy. That's
Thanks.
what I had the skin cancer that I had removed on my shoulder. I had went to the doctor and he removed it and had told me in the office, yeah, this looks cancerous. I'm pretty sure it is, but let's see what pathology has to say. I'll put a rush on it. Never called me back. Never heard from him. A week later, I called back to find out that yes, it was cancerous. Awesome. And but he thought that he got all of it out and that was great. And that it was there's there's several different types of skin cancer. One is much worse than the other. And thankfully I had the basal cell and not the melanoma. But had it been the other way around, that is an extremely serious flipping diagnosis for somebody to have and to never get a call back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what?
And like I said, the year before COVID messed up everybody. Like I was supposed to
yeah.
go the year before for COVID,
Oh yeah.
and of course they weren't seeing very few things were going through the hospital. And of course that all got messed up. And, I got sent and, it was the nurse. It was a nurse's fault that, the doctor didn't get the results at the end of the day. Cause I know my doctor, I know him on a personal level. And unless you tell Dr. Mike, he don't know no better.
Right.
And honestly, he doesn't know.
Most doctors
when
are like that.
It's truly, he doesn't, if you don't tell Dr. Mike, hey, I need you to do this, you need to call this patient, he really doesn't know. It was a nurse's error that, hey, they need a phone call.
And a lot of the times, look, I've had a doctor tell me there was some simple office task or something, and it was that same neuropsychologist. She had a lot to say. But she said something about it was a simple office task to do. And she's like, are you gonna ask Michael Jordan to sell the tickets?
Wait.
She was like, because she had the doctor behind the name. That was the only thing she did. She's like, I'm the doctor. I'm gonna be the doctor. The billing people
hate
can be the
people like
billing
that.
people. And the front office people can be the front office people. Yeah, she had a horrible attitude. She had a really horrible attitude. And there's a reason I'm not there anymore. But
Wow, that's crazy.
and there are doctors out there like that, y'all. Look, the billing service I worked for, I probably worked for 10 or 15 different doctors. I did one particular group of hospitalists at Cabrini Hospital in Alexandria. And there was 6 or 7 doctors in that one group that I would work for. And there were certain doctors that you could call and say, hey, or call their nurse generally and say, hey, I need this documentation or this and that. And there were other doctors who would call and somebody answers the phone, oh, it's Dr. So-and-so, and you talk to them and it's fine. And you can talk to them like a normal person. And then there's other doctors who you see their name pop up on the phone and everybody's like, nobody's answering that call. Because that person is just that hateful and that horrible. And we would forward that call directly to our supervisor. Like, because he didn't really want to talk to us. We were peons. He didn't want nothing to do with us, even though we were the people who filed all of his claims, filed his denials, filed his appeals. He wanted nothing to do with us.
So he was one of those that would call and say, let me speak to your supervisor, or let me speak to your manager, and don't want to
On a
speak
first
to you.
name
And then your
basis,
manager standing up on the
your
side of you
manager,
asking you
so-and-so,
questions.
let me talk to Becky.
Oh, because you know about first name basis.
Yeah. Just
Hmm.
let me talk to Becky. Put Becky on the phone. Yes,
And
sir.
that's when I would handle the phone and he talk to him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a
I
how you
work for-
Because
doing?
he's gonna call back, so talk to him because he want to
Yep.
talk to you.
I worked for a physician like that, and he would just call
Automatically.
people, let me speak to
Mhm.
that person by their first name, and then you're sitting there and the person that he calling for, she's standing up there next to you and she's asking you the questions and you relaying it to her, and then she telling it to him. I'm like,
And
okay,
then
so
we've
what
been
was
like
the point
that.
of you calling asking for her?
It was,
when
yeah.
you
Exactly.
We've
just
had,
talk with me?
there are times where he called and she would have to put him on speaker in her phone and call 2 or 3 of us in there to explain the situation.
Yes. And you looking at her like, I think I could have your job because I'm doing most of the work anyway, but she's getting the credit. Or whenever we have like the meetings or they have little gatherings, get-togethers, so that she laughing, talking with the doctor, they all together just laughing, but they looking at you like you just a little peasant. But you saying to yourself, I know more stuff than this person, this woman right here. You should be praising me,
Now,
I'm
not
about to
her.
say
I
it's
will say
usually the
this about,
peasants.
I will say this.
But she
who
taking
are
all the
boss,
nobody
credit.
realizes.
My boss, Becky, knew everything backwards to frontwards. And there wasn't nothing that I knew that she didn't know. I don't think that there wasn't anything that she didn't know, to be honest with you. That woman was so knowledgeable about her job and about the goings on with every single doctor and clinic and everything. There wasn't much that she couldn't answer when just hit on the spot. But that particular doctor was just a jerk. You know, he was just a jerk and he didn't want to deal with who he thought the lower people on the totem pole was. He wanted the boss of everybody. He thought he was important.
Yeah, because my
Yeah,
physician,
he
I
thought he
worked
was
for,
overly important.
he was like that too. Whenever they would mention his name, like he's coming, or Dr. So-and-so about to come into the office, then everybody was like running
Yeah.
around, just scared,
Yeah.
like, don't say anything, or don't go by the door, or don't tell him anything. And I'm walking around like, I'm going. And as soon as he walked through the door, I say, good morning, Dr. So-and-so. And everybody else just looking like they're scared to say good morning until he say good morning. Then he'll say, good morning, Dr. Not me. I'm standing there by the door. Good morning, doctor. And they looking at me like, girl, no.
I'm gonna kill you with kindness.
Yeah, like,
Mhm.
girl, no, what are you doing? I'm like, he don't scare me. What
Girl, you
supposed to
sound
do?
just like me. I
He's
went to
not
the
a dog. He's not gonna bite me and bite my face off or my head
Right.
off.
Right.
I'm not
That's
scared of
what I
him.
used to
He's a
do,
doctor.
but,
He's a person just like me.
Honestly, what's the
Patient
worst?
would walk in, everybody's running like, oh, well, hey, how are you? I mean,
Yeah, they running
you're
like they
supposed to
scared,
greet
like,
them.
oh, let's make sure you do like you
Busy.
doing some work. Or
That was
make
a big
sure.
one at when we have a big boss. One of the doctors walk in, it was look busy. Make sure you look
Yeah,
busy.
that's what they
I
were
am
saying.
busy. What you talking about?
I'm telling you, I'm
You
just
got a
doing my
minute to
work, but I'm gonna
breathe.
say, good morning. And
I
when he
look
say good
busy.
morning, then he would tell me good morning. And then he'll just walk in and say, we have a full schedule today. So he's talking to me and all the other nurses looking like, wow, okay. So I said, yes, sir, we have a full schedule today. We're gonna be busy. I said, you're gonna keep us running today. And he would just laugh. Okay, y'all made coffee today? And I would tell him, yeah. And he would fix his coffee and then go in his little office. And other nurses looking at me like, girl, do your work. Don't be talking to the doctor like that. I was like, why? Why? Y'all just scared to talk to him? Because he just be, girl, he would chew your head off. And the whole time I worked for him, he never did chew my head off, never said anything. Sometimes he would tell the nurse, leave out the office and go get me to come help with something. And they be looking shocked like, he wants you to come in the office. Because I guess it's just the way I came across to him.
Yeah, some doctors just want to be treated like normal people. You know,
Yep.
not all of them. There are those that have their high and mighty on and are
Mhm.
hard to work for, but y'all, there are just as many that are good people, good down to earth people who went into medicine to help people, you
Mhm.
know, to put good in the world, to do good for other folks. You know,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of them that are in it just for the money, you know.
And he would be Mr. High and Mighty, but I guess because I would ask him questions about certain procedures he was doing, and other nurses wouldn't do that. So I guess he said, well, he felt comfortable with me talking to him.
Yeah.
The other
And
nurses
and
wouldn't
some
talk to him.
people, some doctors and just regular people, I'll tell you, I had a grandfather, a great grandfather like that, that the entire family was, all the grandkids were scared of him because he was this big, intimidating old man and he was
Mhm.
mean. But me as a little redheaded kid, I was like, I don't care. Hit me with that cane. I'm gonna take it and hit you back.
Yeah,
Hit me with
you
that
are
cane
scared of
again.
me.
Hit me with the cane again.
But I
And
bet
you
you
know
was the
what?
one that was talking to him, huh?
I was the only one who would talk to him. And I was also all the other, he had like 18 or 19 great grandkids. Everybody got $2 in a Christmas card except for me. I got 10 because I had Moxie. I wasn't
Mm.
scared of him.
Yep.
You
You
know?
see, that's how it is. But I enjoy the patient portal thing. I feel it's a good
Yeah.
thing. I can
Patient portal's
see they
good.
have my good insurance and my insurance in there correct. Sometimes you'll see certain things being there that don't be correct. So I end up calling the office and I let the nurse know or the front office
Absolutely.
know y'all don't have this right in my patient portal.
Absolutely.
Or some medicines. I've been and told them that I'm not taking the medicine anymore and they still have it in the system. I go in the system and delete the medications. I'll be like, I said I'm not on
Yeah,
this
some of
anymore.
them,
Now I go back in.
some of them will let you do that. But
Yeah.
it is very handy for the office and for the patient. It can really streamline things when you let it.
And you don't have to wait 2 weeks for you to go back in to see the
Right.
doctor. Sometimes some doctor don't see you till a month later. But if you see certain things in your patient portal, in your results, and you concerned about, I would give them a call and say, well, I need to get in to see the doctor. But you don't
Right.
tell them that you saw it in the patient portal.
Exactly.
I did.
Or you need that refill in the middle of the night when you take your last medication at 9 and like, oops, let me get on patient portal.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's there's one more thing I want to talk about real quick before we end for today, and it ties in with the patient portal and all the front office stuff. And that is verifying patient information. If you're the face or the person that patient has first contact with, whether you're the person that answers the phone, you're the person behind the desk when they walk in, whatever the case may be, that first contact with that patient is going to make an impression and it's going to set the tone. Okay. And one of the easiest ways to figure out whether this is a new patient or somebody that's been there before is verifying their information. Usually they'll tell you if they've never been there before, but for any other patient that you have, and this is important for maintaining HIPAA, for looking up the correct patient records, You've got to verify their information. Ask that name, ask that date of birth, verify that address and that phone number. And there's multiple reasons why. Number one, you got to make sure you're giving out the right information to the right patient. Okay. There are instances where you will have two patients with the same dang name. And in my instance with the doctor that I used to have, he had two of us with the same name and the same date of birth. The only way he could tell us the difference was by our address. And the only reason we figured this out was because I needed a referral for the skin cancer. And he sent the other patient for the referral.
Mm.
So his office violated HIPAA by sending her information to where it didn't need to go. And I never got my referral because somebody didn't verify our addresses. They went off by name and date of birth and thought that was that. And that wasn't the case.
Mm.
So after that, I promise you, every time I called that office, my address was asked for and my phone number. Yeah. So, because there was two Brandy Guillerys and both of us were born on June 9th, 1981.
And you would think when they ask for your name and those two brandies pull up, you would think they would click on each one of them to see.
You would
And
think.
why are they, is that the same information inputted twice?
You
If it was inputted twice, then you could just find a reason why and delete one of them. If not, it was the same person, same date of birth, then what's the difference? You
right.
would think they would have looked at.
That happened to me.
You would
We
think.
I went to school with a girl who we have the same name, like the same full name, and we have the same birthday. We would have to give our social
Mm-hmm.
because our socials varied a little differently. But like we were from the same area and everything.
Oh, that's crazy. See,
Yeah.
our saving grace was that I lived in Pineville and she lived in a different town. She lived in Dry Prong, which I never should have found out that she lived in Dry Prong. That's more HIPAA violations.
That's
But
true.
anywho, that was how they differentiated us after that. But so verifying, yeah, it's very important. Because you will come across people with the same name and the same date of birth. How many John Smiths are there out there, y'all? Millions.
Tons.
There's millions of John Smiths out there. And my primary care doctor is a John Smith. He's awesome too. He's a great doctor. But anywho, verify
Well,
that
my
those
husband have to do that whenever he go to the doctor and he gives his name. He have to tell him, make sure it's my name and not my brother's name or my dad's name, because his dad, his brother, his nephew, his uncles, they all have the same name. Because at one time, my husband almost got arrested for somebody who had the same name as his, and they was going for some bench warrants, and the only way they found out it wasn't him was by the social.
Mm-hmm.
But they come to our home to try to arrest him for some bench warrants. And my husband said, I never got in trouble in my life.
I mean, we almost couldn't buy a house because of my husband and his dad's last name.
Yes,
Come on.
it can mess you up a lot when you have family members with all the same names.
I have my husband has a friend who has a brother. His friend's brother is kind of he's just a hot mess. We'll just leave it at that. He's a hot mess. But anyway, he went to the hospital and used his brother's ID to put the bill in his brother's name, not realizing that it was going to screw up his brother's health record.
He should have with his brother's ASS. You don't do that to nobody.
I've seen that on Lifetime movies.
He did. But, and that's their names were so, one was Joseph and one was Joey. You know, with the same last name, they looked, even though they were 2 years apart, they looked almost identical. I mean, just, it was ridiculous. But had to go through some crap to get his health record straightened out. And the bad thing was, the brother whose health record he messed up, my husband's friend, had back surgery. He's on like pain management type stuff. And I mean, it screwed up so much stuff for him, because all of a sudden his primary care doctor thought he was going to the ER and getting extra drugs, getting extra pain meds than what he was supposed to
And
be
it
having.
wasn't him.
I mean, it screwed some stuff up.
Oh
So
my gosh.
that's why it's so important for the health records to be accurate. Okay, so we got to verify our patients and make sure they are who we think they are, who they need to be. Okay.
Mhm.
And that kind of ties in with the last thing, professionalism. That first contact makes a difference. And I have a little cousin, y'all. I say little, he's 34 years old, but he will go to a job interview in shorts and sandals. He doesn't think that it's fair that people judge him on his appearance. You know what? I don't think it's fair either. I don't think people should be judged on their appearance. But as someone who is done hiring, you are going to look more favorable at a person who is dressed professionally versus a person who looks like they just rolled out of bed. You're just going to think better of that person. That's just human nature. Okay. So no, it's not fair that we get judged on our appearance or how we speak or other things. But unfortunately, it's a fact of life. And the way we come across at a job in a front office position as a first point of contact, we get judged. And it's important that we maintain that professionalism, because there is nothing that I cannot stand more than calling a business, especially a doctor's office, and somebody saying, hello. Hi, who am I speaking with? Where did I call the correct number? Where's this? Who you want to talk to?
Ooh.
Really? Really? That doesn't make me want to do business with them. You know what I'm saying?
They do not need to
That
be
doesn't
answering the
inspire
phone in a
confidence.
professional office at all. You is not at your house.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Thank you. While we're at work, we act
I don't like
professionally.
that at all.
We answer the phone professionally. I even on my personal cell phone, when it's my brother calling, I don't go, hello.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
But your cousin do have a point, though. He feel
He
that he
does.
shouldn't be judged by,
We shouldn't.
but
We shouldn't.
that
I hate
I
it.
guess it's just the way that society just helps, like I say, mess with our brain of thinking that way
Right.
of we should judge how a person look or appearance are, because it's not good, because you can have a person that is very knowledgeable and have several degrees, probably just fell on hard times and could sometimes be homeless and might not have access to clean clothes or
Right.
just not a suit and tie or
You
something like
never
that.
know about somebody just by
Why
the
do I
look
care
of
if
them.
you have tattoos on your arms and you're trying to save my
Everybody
life?
have
I
them
mean,
now.
I'm tatted up. I'm gonna let y'all know that now. I'm tatted up. That ain't my only one.
Oh, Miss B, I
And I just hate that
Me
they
too,
try to
Miss
complain that you
Bird.
gotta be
I
covered
got
up.
one on the side of my neck.
I wear me a jacket, but yeah.
Yeah, when
But
you
I
in
mean, that's the
nursing,
generation we are in now. Like,
Right. We're a lot more
even the
open-minded than the
doctors
folks that
have
came
them.
before us.
yeah,
Even
that's
the
what I'm
doctors
saying. They try
have
to
them.
tell
We
you
are.
about in nursing, you can't wear a short sleeve or something like that. You have to wear either
Yeah,
a
they
jacket
You wear
or
like an
long,
undershirt, or
yeah,
they started
undershirt.
making the sleeves because my aunt recently just got a sleeve, and she's a teacher actually,
Mhm.
and they told her like when she goes to clinicals and stuff, she has to wear either like a long sleeve
Right.
under her scrub.
Yeah,
Because they have the sleeves that they actually sell at the scrub place now,
Yeah.
Yep.
and it's just enough to
Cover the
just
tat.
like a little arm
Mhm.
sleeve, like you'd be a baseball player.
Right.
yeah.
Because
Now,
they
I
don't
am
they
tatted up.
scary, don't want to wear in.
But
But
yeah, because
do
they're talking about
I
they're
go
scared of patients or
do I
Yeah.
something
go on a
like
job
that, but
interview
that's
in
like,
all my glory? No, I dress professionally,
mhm.
Right.
you know,
Everybody has them. It's
and I
no
put
big
forth
deal.
the good foot. And you're right, Julia, it sucks and it's not fair. And to me,
Because
it's one of
it
the
would be
it's
just
one of
like
the
you judging a
stupidest things.
doctor and you be telling him, no, I don't want him to do surgery on me because he have all those tattoos. Or look how he dressed. Oh no, he just look
Right.
like a biker. Or no, he just look all scrumpy, like a homeless person. No, I don't want him doing surgery on me, but you don't know that person could be the best surgeon ever, could be the one that could solve your case.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
that
had
could,
a
it could be a
baby.
brain surgery you have to have. And he
Yeah.
probably the only one that really understand what he can do to help you compared to the other ones. But you know, you judging him by how he looks.
Right.
I had a baby in February. I had my son. My attending OB had long gray hair. He had like the biker
Mhm.
bracelets, the wristbands, the black biker wristbands. He had a scrub top that was cut off, like he cut the sleeve. I mean, like he looked like he was about to jump, came in with his biker boots and everything. But when I tell you my C-section was the smoothest section I've had,
See?
they did their thing. And I mean, they talked about golfing, going to concerts, everything. But I mean, smooth incision, healed wonderfully.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't judge, but although I was like, oh my God, he looks like he's about to go to an Aerosmith concert,
Yeah.
you know, but still, I wasn't going to be like, oh no, you can't, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel they shouldn't do that. It shouldn't be a judgmental thing. They should look at your degrees and your credentials.
I
Oh,
agree.
Not
definitely.
looking about how you look.
I agree completely. That
Definitely.
is the way it should be.
Because
But
that's how society was
unfortunately-
back in the days, and it still got us thinking in that type of mind state.
Right. Right. And I think for a lot of business owners and people in higher management, people
Mhm.
that make the big bucks and live that kind of lifestyle, there's always going to be that little bit of judgmental
Mhm.
perception when they look at other people.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be like that. But unfortunately, that's the world we live in, unfortunately.
They want what they
And
want.
that's the point I want to get through to y'all. As while it's not fair, it is still important to put that professional foot forward,
Mhm.
right? And that not only, y'all, goes in how you talk to people, your communication, how you dress. Listen to your voicemail message and critique it. Okay. Look at your email address and critique it. A professional email address is not Shorty's little boo boo pinky 5. You know what I'm saying? It's like I have one, brandy.guillory@gmail. That's my personal, but that's also the one that I'll put on my resumes and things like that. Because, it's not Arthur Sweet Honey Pie at gmail.com. Because that just wouldn't be professional.
I might have to critique mine because mine is sassy.
I know.
I know I ain't sassy. But I'm out.
Nobody's perfect, Juliet.
Yes. So I'm gonna have to give me a professional business email and just
There you
use
go.
that.
But just, take a second look at the things that you put out there to potential employers. And look, if your voicemail, if you listen to your message that people are calling in and hearing you, and it sounds like you at the club at 3 a.m., go ahead and change that, okay? Go ahead and change that. But that's pretty much it for me today, guys. I just wanted to kind of, it sucks, but it is necessary to put that professional foot forward to make people give you that second look sometimes. As unfair as it is. Unfortunately, it's just the world we live in. But yeah, we do what we do. We gotta work. And I hope y'all do the same thing as I do. I work to live. I work so that I can enjoy the time that I am not working. I do not live to work. I don't, other than texting y'all back and opening up little things or doing whatever, answering an email, whatever at night, I'm with my family and I'm enjoying my life. And that's what I work to do. And I hope that y'all do the same thing. Sometimes I feel like my uncle and my brother, they've got them high power 6-figure jobs. And they miss a lot. they miss a lot of their kids' lives because of those jobs. They're not home a lot. They have to travel a lot, which is great. They get to travel. That's awesome. And it's okay for my brother because he's a single dude. He's got 3 kids, but they're mostly grown, and he doesn't have custody, full-time custody of any of them anyway. But my uncle had 2 kids growing up, and he missed a lot of first moments with his younger kid because of that job. And that never interested me. That never interested me. To be at a job more than I'm living my life, no thank you. God didn't put me on this earth to strictly make somebody else money. That's not what I'm here for.
So
So
what we have to look forward to for the test, the exam.
exam, you got 10 multiple choice and 10 true and false from each chapter. And then 1 essay bonus question. That's it. That's it. It's already up. I do not have Friday stuff up yet. I'll get that up tonight though. No worries.
I just thought we had Fridays off. I didn't see it. I was like, oh.
No. I just haven't got it up there yet. I haven't got it up there. I've been having a lot of extra meetings. We've got that 3-day conference. Remember, y'all got a short week next week. Hallelujah. But I will have some bonus assignments. Do them if you want to. If you don't want to, that's fine too. But they'll be there for y'all to do. If you want some extra points, I think I'm probably going to do 2 of them just to keep y'all engaged. The supervisors and whatnot are like, after a 3-day week, the students are going to be not engaged and we're not going to be able to get them back in the groove. And I'm like, I'm not really worried about
We're
that.
gonna be looking for homework on after those 3 days. We know we're
Exactly.
responsible for something every day after that. How
I'm
we
not
gonna get back into it?
exactly. But
And we're not
everybody's
high
like
school,
you, though.
junior high school.
not everybody's like
adults.
you. You would be surprised how many people after that blackout, how many people did absolutely nothing that entire time of that blackout. And
I
they
was
kept
trying to
on doing
figure it
nothing
out
for a couple of
myself,
weeks.
like,
Kept on doing nothing for a couple of weeks after that. That's where the supervisors are coming. Not all students are like you and Aisha and Brooke and Jennifer and Patricia and Tiara and Shakira.
if I had to text it to you personally and urge you,
Not
I had
everybody
to
got the
do it,
group I got.
right.
So
We're trying to get it done over here.
that's what I'm saying.
Trying to get this over with. And when this
Right.
banquet is supposed to
That
be
part.
also.
Huh?
Don't we have a banquet?
Banquet?
Yeah.
I have a
banquet
banquet.
for the national honors or something?
Oh,
They
the
moved
induction
it to
ceremony.
June 30th.
The induction ceremony. That has been moved to June the 30th. That's not next week, but week after. It'll be the Thursday, Julia.
Uh-oh.
So they're gonna decide to move it
Yeah, they-
right
Bang,
after,
email.
2 days after I have surgery.
It's online though.
I know.
You can do it from the house. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. It's an online event.
Okay.
You'll be okay. All you can do is worry about your hair.
Oh, that's,
Y'all,
well,
I had so
I
much
didn't
fun.
cut it. I didn't cut it all off, so ain't much to worry about. So that might be just wake up from medication and be like, huh? Okay, I'm
That'd be fine too, girl. Whatever you got to do. Do you. All right, y'all. I won't hold y'all no more because it is 5:00. So I gotta go get my youngin. So this
Okay.
video is not gonna get put up for probably a couple of hours. My husband, his work slowed down, unfortunately, and he had to go down South Louisiana to work. So it's actually just me and the kid here till Saturday.
How far south?
So if I don't answer y'all back at night, that's why. It's because it's just me and her, and it's just me and her. That's it. It's just me and her. So if I
Far
don't,
south.
huh?
How far south?
He's working in Lafayette and staying in
Oh.
Franklin.
Oh, he's
Ooh.
smart.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's
I
where
was
I'm
say I'm at the
from.
bottom of the boot.
Yeah.
I'm all the way at
I'm
the bottom.
originally from St. Mary Parish. And
I am in Homa.
girl.
Oh, girl. Oh, yeah.
Yo town plenty.
We going to home next year.
Feel like I spent half my life in Homa. That was the closest mall to Morgan City my entire life. And actually, I
Yeah.
was born in Homa. I was born at
I am
Terrebonne
at-
General.
I am at the bottom of the boot.
You
I
literally
was-
are.
I was born in Houma too.
Were you?
I was, but I moved to West Wego 17 years ago. I had to leave that country place. I could not stay in that area no more.
That's Bayou down there, y'all.
Yes, I had
Deep
to leave.
Yeah,
Bayou.
because y'all still just building things back in home.
Yeah.
Y'all just
Oh,
starting
it's
to
still
do it.
terrible. It is terrible.
It's bad. I had my best friend since first grade is a little girl from Berwick. Her name is Rolanda Thigpen, and she's a PE teacher somewhere there at a school there in Homa. And thank God, she and her kids were able to get out of her house, but their house was demolished. I mean, just to the ground. Tornado hit it, and nothing left. Nothing left. But yes,
I
there
know
were
a lot of people
people.
like that.
Yeah, a lot of people devastated in that area, and continually devastated and rebuild in that
Oh,
area.
probably getting screwed over on top of that.
Homa and Lake Charles, y'all. Them poor. It seemed like every other year, Homa and Lake Charles taking a beating from them hurricanes. But Louisiana, that's the Gulf Coast for you. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, I gotta go get my youngin. So y'all have a wonderful day. Text me if y'all need anything. I'm always.
Miss Brandy,
Yes, ma'am.
this is Jennifer. Do you have me on? Because I got on at like 1:45.
Yes, ma'am. I got you.
Okay, that's it. All right, you have a good day.
You too, Jennifer. All right, y'all. Have a
Thank
good
you, y'all.
one.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.